All treats, no tricks here at LakePoint Sports as we bring you another of our Game of the Day broadcasts just days ahead of Halloween. I'm Cory McCartney, and we have a matchup for you between GA Sauce and Easley Baseball Club from the Youth State Championship here at the Audi Marietta Field at the Baseball Village. First pitch is slated for 10:15 a.m. in this pool play game. I will be joined along the way by our own Grayson, Rosen, as well as Avery from Prep Baseball. And like all of our events here at LakePoint Sports, it's a chance for these athletes to make their mark with great performances, and it's also an opportunity for them to show their greatness in other ways as well. We've teamed up with Johnsonville in their pursuit to bring the positive back to the internet. And everyone is encouraged to share these moments. So whether you are the one who spotted the activity, the one performing the act, or the recipient of the good deed, there's something in it for everyone. And Johnsonville might just reward you for your behavior and or participation. So use that QR code on screen. For more information on how you can make a submission, or head on over to LakePointSports.com to access the submission form. And let's watch this promo and go inside Johnsonville's mission to bring the positive back to the internet. So again, use that QR code on screen for more information on how you can make this a submission, or head on over to LakePointSports.com or our social channels to access the submission form. And to give you an example of the kind of moments that we're looking for, here's CYO Braves Jeremiah McGeechee with a play so good the umpire had to give his appreciation. This past summer, LakePoint Sports hosted, as it does every summer, the Prep Baseball Future Games, an opportunity for the top uncommitted players in the nation to get in front of hundreds of college coaches. Among them was South Carolina Slade Bird, who turned that opportunity into a Georgia Southern commitment. Here's my conversation with the Hilton Head Christian Academy 2026. Here with Slade Bird, 2026, out of Hilton Head Christian and Georgia Southern commit. Slade, man, appreciate the time.
Thank you for bringing it up.
You were here at the Future Games representing South Carolina this past summer. Everybody can kind of talk about what that experience is like, all the coaches playing with all that talent. What does somebody not tell you about the Future Games?
I mean, nothing. It was great. The environment was great. Players are great. Coaches are great. I mean, all the players were the same. We all wanted the same thing. We all wanted to win and make it to at least get an offer somewhere, make it D1, and I mean, we did that. I think we played really well, and as a team, it was just fun. I mean, a lot of coaches there, so it was good to get all the players out there and be seen. So
I know it's always a lot of guys, okay, I played against that guy, I've heard about that guy. What's that like when you guys all come together and you put on that shirt that says South Carolina?
It's a little weird because when you play against them, you want to beat them really bad, and you hear all like how good they are, and then being with them, you get to really know them and how cool they are. And I mean, it's just, first game out there, it was just, we were meant to be together. I feel like, I mean, we all just really played well together and thrived off each other because we all were the same.
Was there anybody in particular that you staying in contact with, any friendships that were?
Definitely Taj Martian.
Yeah.
I really liked him. We played him in high school this past year, so I already knew about him, heard about him, and I mean, it was really good to play with him and see how he really plays and goes after the game.
That ultimately leads to the Georgia Southern commitment that just happened last month, so congratulations on that. When you were narrowing things down, what was it about that program that made them pop out and said, that's where I got to be?
They really wanted me. That's what stood out to me. They showed that they wanted me. They I mean, they told me they're coming after the player I am, and I mean, they just kept the contact every day and texted me and called me a lot, and I went to the campus there, and it's amazing. I love all the coaches there. I love the environment, and that really stood out to me, and that's what felt like home to me.
Let's talk about the player they're going to get near triple-digit exit velos. You get the bat speed into the 70s, almost a 90 outfield velo.
Yes, sir.
What do you think they're getting in the player?
I think we're getting one of the best 2026 players in the class. I think they got a good one, and I know I'm good, and I'm excited to get up there and show what I can do.
What have they talked to you about specifically, like this is the checklist before you get on campus that we want to see you?
Definitely weight. They want me to get up there. A little more strength, and besides that, they really liked everything about me. I mean, if I just keep progressing and on the track I am, I'll be good to go.
What's the loss of pressure like when you get to say that part's over and now I know where I'm going next?
It was stressful. After the future games, got all the phone calls August 1st. I mean, a lot of colleges reached out, and the day I committed and figured out that's where I want to go, I mean, it was like weight lifted off my shoulders. It was great, and I mean, it makes me want to work harder, knowing I'm going to go there. And
being from Hilton Head, we all go there for vacation. What do you guys do? What do you guys do to escape?
We moved out. We go out and land. So we moved out and land, and I mean, it gets packed on the island. So you really can't do much when there's a lot of people there. But I mean, just to escape, go to the beach, just have fun out there, and just have fun out there.
You guys do the same thing everybody else does.
Right, yeah, just do the same thing.
All right, we talked about you as a player. I always love to see it in motion, so I want to get that bat in your hand and have you take us to your setup. Sound good?
Yes, sir. So when I go out there, I don't really think about anything. You think too much, I mean, nothing really happened, and you'll overthink and mess something up in your swing. So I just go out there feeling free, and I mean, my number one goal is make good contact, and hopefully it finds a gap. And I like my little spread out. I don't like the stride. I think it takes too much time. So I just do a little leg race and my hands low back, and I just keep it simple and just right down to the ball, and hopefully it finds a gap. And when I got 2 strikes, I like to choke up about 1.5 inches, and I really spread out a lot. I already got my hands low back, and I just like snap my hands. And usually nowadays the pitches throw a little bit harder. So, I mean, when you make contact, the harder the ball comes in, the harder it goes out. So make good contact, and it's going somewhere pretty far. So that's sort of my probably setup for my swing right now.
Slade, man, thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. Best of luck at Georgia Southern. If you're not already, make sure you follow LakePoint Sports on all our social media channels. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and you get so much more happening here on campus.
Let's take a look at how these teams are going to line up for our game of the day in the U State Championship between GA Sauce and Easley Baseball Club. GA Sauce going to lead off with shortstop Parker Souza, followed by left fielder Max Carter. Braden Turgeon will hit third, the extra hitter. Daniel LaBelle, third baseman, hitting fourth. Noah Mosier, the catcher, hitting fifth. Hitting sixth, first baseman Dylan Holt. Alex Paget is pitching and hitting seventh. Jace Giannotti, the second baseman, hitting eighth. Colton Carpenter, center fielder, hitting ninth. Weston Brisky, the right fielder, will hit 10th. Easley Baseball Club leading off with catcher Kason Wiggins, followed by pitcher Easton Smith, and third baseman Cannon Jewell. Brett Little, the first baseman, will hit fourth. Jack Horton, the extra hitter, hits fifth. McLean Garner, right fielder, hits sixth. Hitting seventh, shortstop John Beasley. Riker Dyer, the left fielder, will hit eighth. Jack Faber, the second baseman, will hit ninth. And Carter Flea, center fielder, will hit 10th. Again, looking a little beyond our estimated 10-15 first pitch window here, but we do see the teams working their way onto the field. Saw a football flying around a few minutes ago, now joined in here by Prep Baseball's own Avery Hunt. Avery, everybody's got the football bug on a Saturday morning.
No, it's October the 26th. It's prime football season. I think all the Georgia high school regular season finished up yesterday, so got playoffs about to start for those guys. And if somebody watching wants to fact check me and tell me that I'm wrong, I might be, but I think that's right. But yeah, it's getting to the middle of the college football season. NFL is getting to the middle of their season, so yeah, the football bug is flying around here early.
Yeah, we had senior night for our own senior at Etowah last night, so that was one of those moments. So we got to experience the first of many here during a senior year, but then they got trounced by North Cobb. So
is Jack a senior?
He is, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes me
yeah.
feel old.
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah, so big night for them. Not a big night on the football field, but nonetheless, as you mentioned, football wrapping up for a number of these teams for the regular season. The playoffs await. We'll have pool play here in the youth state championship Sunday here at the Baseball Village. Now see GA Sauce going out to take the field. Of course, this being the fall, got to have somebody in a mismatched uniform. We just see a couple the reds, but they sprinkle it in, so I think it's more of an accent there when you got multiple guys in the red uniforms as opposed to
half and
the
half.
blue. Yeah. It looks like it's a little more. They meant to do that. So again, we're going to see for GA Sauce, we will see Alex Paget on the mound for them. See Alex now getting out there, getting loose. Alex from North Forsyth, 2029, 5'9", second prep baseball event for him. Get underway here momentarily. Couldn't ask for better weather here on a Saturday morning. You know, it's going to get a little bit heated as we go along, not here in this game, but across campus as we'll get into the mid to high 80s here as the day progresses. And we always talk about weather, but I think weather is always an issue typically when we get to this time of the year. But, man, these guys are living it up here in the almost November schedule, and still so many people walking around wearing shorts, yourself included. So, yeah, it's couldn't ask for a better situation weather-wise.
Absolutely. I'm a big advocate of shorts year-round. If the temperature is above, like, freezing, I'm going to have shorts on. I'm not a big fan of pants. But yeah, it's, we avoided the fog delay this morning for the first time, it seems like forever. So that was nice. Didn't have to deal with any fog early this morning. Just kind of sitting down on us. So very thankful for that and get everything started on time.
So the throw down from catcher Noah Mosier, and we will get things started. See Kaysen Wiggins, the leadoff hitter for Easley Baseball Club, going out and giving some dabs to start things off. Kaysen, one of the players we will absolutely have our focus on in this event, was a member of the Junior Future Games team this past summer from Mississippi. Had a chance to catch up with Kaysen ahead of today's game. A 2029 who just keeps playing up and loves to challenge himself against some little more higher velo pitching. So he's a guy that really prides himself on defense, but see what he can do at the plate as he gets things started off for Easley Baseball Club. He'll be followed by pitcher Easton Smith and third baseman Cannon Jewell. I always like to talk to the Junior Future Games kids to see, certainly the changes in recruiting have I guess, impacted the amount of focus on those junior games, but I think it's always interesting to see what does that kid think of what he saw on the future game side, and how much does that make him want to get back here in 2 years? I think that's always a fascinating conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, you kind of, being around all the junior future game guys for the last 5 or 6 years, they, as you said, the recruiting changes have kind of drifted all the college coaches strictly to the future game side. But those guys, when you're here and you finish your game, like, oh, let's go see what's going on the future game side, and they walk over and see all of the, all of the scouts in attendance, and the spectacle that event is. They're like, oh, this is different over here on this side. So I definitely think that plays a big role in getting guys, to kind of strive to get back and work hard to get back.
So Kaysen Wiggins grounds out there on the throw to first base, so there'll be one down as we now turn things over to Easton Smith. Game where you'll see Easton on the mound momentarily for Easley. Puts that one in play, and an absolute replay, nearly of what we saw. That one goes to second base, over to first for the second out. Very quickly, Paget has 2 down. Third batter will be Cannon Jewell for Easley Baseball Club. Cannon from Briarcrest Christian School in Tennessee. Get a mix of Tennessee and Mississippi players in this Easley squad, all Georgia, of course, in the Georgia sauce. Just misses to start things off against Jewell.
These are 2 programs that we see a good amount here at LakePoint with the Georgia sauce, and obviously with Easley Baseball Club. So it's fun to kind of see what their future has and kind of what they're building up at the lower ranks. So looking forward to this matchup here today. I did get a text from Ed Easley with Easley Baseball Club, told me to give him a shout out. So that's that's this part of the program.
There you go.
So.
Well, you check that box.
There we go.
Miss Glove side is going to run it to 2-1. Yeah, I'd like to get these broadcasts on Saturday mornings. That way we can free everybody up. I don't know how many people we're going to pull away from college game day, but at least we can get them to go watch some college football after we're done doing our thing. Another miss glove side. It's now 3-1.
Where it's game days in Indiana today.
Yeah.
For them in Washington. So, two teams from the southern part of the country. So maybe most of those guys are like, it's not in the SEC this week.
There you go.
We'll tune into the LakePoint broadcast.
Swing and a miss. Going to run the count full. Got tickets to see Ohio State and Indiana play late November, so could be two top 10 teams at that point. The way Indiana's rolling, off to a historic start.
Maybe if to pull some more viewers away, one of us needs to start acting like Pat McAfee here on the broadcast.
All right, another one put in play. That goes third baseman. Long throw across the diamond. Pulls the first baseman to the side, but he is able to haul that in, and we are through half an inning in our game of the day from the U State Championship. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back from LakePoint Sports.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy. Boogie, woogie, jam, slam, bust the dialect, come to
Welcome back to our game of the day from the U State Championship. Cory McCartney, Avery Hunt with you. We're getting a look at a future battery for Lewisburg High School in Mississippi. You got Easton Smith on the mound, Case and Wiggins behind the plate. These guys are going to be potentially doing this for a while at a power school in Mississippi for sure. So we'll see what they have in store for Georgia Sauce as get things started here. In the bottom of the first, we'll have Parker Souza, Max Carter, and Braden Turgeon leading things off for GA Sauce. Obviously, do you call it Georgia Sauce? Do you call it GA Sauce?
I think the way they've explained it is it's Georgia Sauce, so we'll stick with that.
All right, we're going to call them Georgia Sauce from here on out.
There we go. A little bit of the Georgia Sauce.
All right. Well, we'll see what Georgia Sauce has in store for us. Easton Smith going to lead off with ball one. Is GA Sauce tangy? Is GA Sauce got a little bit of that Carolina mustard to it? What do you?
I don't know. You have sauces that are named after different states, and I don't know what.
I don't think there's one that's inherent to Georgia. I don't think there's a barbecue sauce that's inherent to Georgia.
I mean, I think if you're talking about the Georgia side of things, I think it'd probably be the Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe a Zach sauce. I don't know.
Because I think the barbecue feels like there's the KC and then there's the Carolina, and those are kind of your. That's what you got.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we have to get somebody to explain to us what exactly Georgia sauce tastes like. Have a leadoff walk, and now we will see Max Carter. Max Carter, North Gwinnett, 2028. First prep baseball event for Max.
Welcome, as we did last week with a few of the guys. Welcome to your first event. You get to be on the broadcast in your second game.
Swings through the breaking ball. We always get a lot more of those in the fall, obviously, than we do the summertime.
Yeah, especially with the youth, the younger guys, we get a little bit more focus on that stuff. So.
One bounces away from Wiggins. Runner's going to take off for second. I was talking to Case and Wiggins about his defense before the game, and I asked him what he really prides himself on, and he said, being a wall back there, I want to be a pillow for my pitcher. I asked him, this is like a common theme that I find when I talk to young catchers. They love Yadier Molina. So many of them talk about how he influences so many young catchers and how they operate behind the plate. And Casey Wing is another one of those that was who he brought up, was the retired Cardinals backstop.
I mean, I think, historically in the game of baseball, if you're looking for a guy behind the plate to model your game after, that he's probably, top 1 or 2, and he's probably not 2. So, one of the best to ever do it back there behind the plate. And, if you're going to model your game after somebody, you might as well model your game after the best.
Yeah, and maybe it's just because JT Realmuto's metrics are just so absurd, and he's in the size, and there's just so much that separates him, I think, from, the prototype of a catcher that maybe guys do gravitate towards Molina. But the thing with Molina is he was just always it was all about the defense with him, and what you got offensively from him was just kind of icing.
Added on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's NBA season. That I'm a, little NBA guru, freak, whatever you want to call me, with the Atlanta Hawks. But, you can't model, young basketball players aren't, who do you want to play like? I want to play like LeBron. It's like, hey, man, I hate to break it to you, but you're probably not going to be 6'9", 250, ripped out of your mind. Like, if you are, great, but, statistics say that that's not going to be the build that you're going to be gifted with. So it's kind of what you were saying with Realmuto. It's not guys walking around that can do what he can do behind the plate with his metrics and all of the things that he's able to do back there. So, and not to say Molina's metrics were not, top of the line, which they were, but he's more of a prototypical backstop when you think of one. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that the Trae Young's a little bit more obtainable.
Yeah,
than,
I mean,
than
for me and you probably, yes.
Turgeon puts that one into play deep into left center, able to haul that in and make the catch, but the runner will progress to third base. Now making his way home, the throw to the plate is not in time. We got our first run for Georgia Sauce. They are on the board. Long sacrifice fly there for Braden Turgeon's got them on the board. Going to have 2 down, though, as Max Carter went down on strikes.
Little lackadaisical getting the ball in after a really good play in center there. Allowed the runner to just keep on rolling from second, to be able to score from second on a fly ball to the outfield.
So Parker Souza has Georgia Sauce on the board now. Here is Daniel LaBelle.
Looks like we're going to see if he left early at second base.
This is when you hope they don't point at the cameras and say, let's go back and check that thing.
Let's check with the broadcast. No, that is not in the PBR rule book. It does say on there all things are up to the tournament director's discretion, and my discretion is that we're not going to go to replay. So there we go.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned it before, how much longer these games would be if we had replay in these games. But I do think it would be cool if we had a challenge flag and they could throw it once a game.
Yeah. That would be definitely an interesting wrinkle. Me personally, I think if you get to the Elite Eight, I'm all in on that thought process.
But an early morning Saturday pool play game doesn't get to have the
I don't know
challenge
that
flag.
the pool play games we're going to be pulling out the replay system and sending it to New York. So, also don't want the ridicule that you get with the replay. MLB replay is great; it's been great for the game, but sometimes, depends on your fandom. They don't always get it right. So, if I can avoid those emails, text, and social media mentions, I will. We'll just roll with it and let the umpires decide.
We could always, instead of saying confirming it, we could just be like it was inconclusive, so the play stands.
I love that.
Oh,
the camera didn't turn. Can't
That's
do anything
right.
about
That's
it. You get to retain your challenge, though.
That's right. That's true.
No timeout. You're good.
Yep. Swing and a miss by Daniel LaBelle. It's going to run the count to 1-2.
Speaking of the replay system, what did you watch any of the Game 7 of the World Series?
I did.
What do we have on the ball in the 8th, 9th, that was hit to the wall, and the fan reached over and caught it? Do you think that was a homer? Or what do we?
Yeah, I think it's always so hard to tell. Check swing, got him with a sword and the strikeout as we're going to be through one full inning. Georgia Sauce, though, they take a 1-0 lead. We're going to continue that conversation when we come back. We'll move on to the second inning, our game of the day from the U-State Championship.
Next. Stop. You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one,
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
We're through one in our game of the day from the U-State Championship. Georgia Sauce has a 1-0 lead on Easley Baseball Club. Cory McCartney along with Avery Hunt. Paget back on the mound for Georgia Sauce. He's going to be facing off against Brett Little, Jack Horton, and McLean Garner for Easley Baseball Club. So looking for our first hit of the game here as we're sitting in the second inning. So you asked about the controversial call there in Game 7. I think it's so hard when you're talking about trying to gauge fan interference. It's such a difficult thing. It's almost like they should put like sensors on the top of the wall. There's got to be something that they can, some addition, some change they can make to avoid those situations.
They have the StatCast that we see every week, especially at Yankee Stadium. Like, this would have been a home run in 29 of 30 parks or whatever it is. Like, how do we not have the metric of like, oh, that ball was hit 387 feet and the ball's 386 feet? That could come into it. I think they got it right. For that Dodgers fan's sake, I'm glad they got it right. Because if that's a homer, he might not have made it out of that stadium. You know, people come up. I'm sure there was traffic, so people would have came up to him in traffic, I'm sure. But I saw that last night, and I was like, ooh, that's interesting. It was a really good ball game, walk-off grand slam by Braves legend Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, you know, Grayson, Rosen, and I were talking about that before the game. You walk Mookie Betts, and I mean, it was a tough situation for Freeman. I mean, he hadn't been playing well since injuring his ankle at the end of the regular season, but he legged out a triple early in that game, and shades of Kirk Gibson, taking it way back before your time with that moment for Freddie Freeman, but. Guy that I had spent a lot of time around covering the Braves, and always, despite the fact that he's wearing a different shade of blue now, always excited to see good things happening to Freddie Freeman.
Absolutely. He's had such a tough year, obviously,
personally.
with injuries and then, with his son and stuff like that. So, baseball has a way of, it seems like guys like that, things probably aren't going the best for all around with injuries and off the field stuff. Moments like that are really, really cool. So, I did hear that Grayson has got Dodgers in 5, I think is the rumor that I heard floating around.
Yeah, I like Dodgers in 6. Where are you at?
I don't care. I mean, I'd want the Yankees to win instead of the Dodgers just because, the Dodgers and Braves history, I would prefer the Yankees to win. But, I mean, it doesn't. I think the Dodgers are the better team, so we'll see.
Brett Little goes down on strikes. Nice start to the inning for Paget. Now here's Jack Horton, the extra hitter.
I think that matchup's going to come down to what the top 3 guys for each team do, and whoever those guys performs the best and whoever has the one, I guess, rotational player do the most. So I think that's kind of what's going to decide that series. Obviously, last night, the Dodgers with one of their big 3 with a grand slam and, Shohei being Shohei. I think they won that battle, so we'll see.
It's fascinating, the bullpen dynamic, because both of these teams, Dodgers and Yankees, rely so much on these dominant bullpens. And when you have lineups like that and they see a guy maybe 3-4 times during a series, it kind of loses its the pitcher's ability to surprise you the same way. So one, it's going to put so much more of an emphasis on how deep their starters can go into in a game. But you start taking really, you know, all-time kind of hitters and start giving them multiple looks at a relief arm, bad things are going to happen, and we obviously, you know, saw the beginnings of that last night with Freeman hitting that walk-off grand slam.
I mean, if you're the Yankees, you have Soto, Judge, and Stanton in the middle of your lineup. You're like, all right, and there's no 3 guys that are going to be better than those 3 guys. And you're like, oh, now we play the Dodgers that have Ohtani, Betts, Freeman back to back to back, and it's like.
Oh, and you got the home run derby champion, Teoscar Hernandez.
Just hanging out in the 4 spot.
Waiting in the wings. So, yeah, and absolutely insane. Jack Horton at the plate from Ecru, Mississippi. He's going to draw himself a 1-out walk. We'll go from Jack Horton to McLean Garner from Collierville, Tennessee. Bats left, throws right.
See if EBC here can take advantage of a free base runner. We saw the Georgia Sauce be able to have some heads-up base running, take advantage of it in the bottom half of the first, see if EBC can't bounce back and answer here.
Skies that one down the left side. That's going to go foul. Yeah, I'm sure there were some words had in the Easley dugout when a guy's able to score off of a long pop fly from second base. But Georgia Sauce able to capitalize and have themselves a 1-0 lead here in the second inning.
Absolutely. It was a really good play in center, just kind of took his time getting it in and allowed the runner to just never stop moving.
0-1 the count to Garner. Make it 0-2 off that foul. So you kind of left us waiting to know during last week's broadcast if there was going to be a Halloween costume.
I've still yet to hear about one.
Okay.
So I think I'm in the clear with Halloween costumes this year.
It's the 0-2 from Padgett. Missed arm sizing, make it 1-2.
Really good color coordination there behind the plate for the Georgia Sauce, as we got the American flag catcher's gear with the American flag sauce across the front of the uniform.
Yeah, Noah Moser coming correct for this start here during the game broadcast. A little Homelander, Captain America vibes.
They used to make a red, white, and blue with the stars up top arm sleeve. We get him with that on, and he'll be rolling all around.
That's right. Comes the 2-2 from Padgett. Runner's taken off for a second. Throw is in time. Got him. Nice job from Moser behind the plate. Great job. Second shortstop as well. Parker Souza applying the tag.
Right on cue. We're talking about the catcher's gear, and he shows it off back there. And
That's right. He says it goes beyond looks, people.
Yeah, guns down the runner at second base.
Look good, feel good, play good.
That's it.
Comes a 3-2 from Padgett. Swing and a miss. A little frustration there. He gets them down another inning. So 1-0 continues to be the lead for GA Sauce. We'll be back from our game of the day from LakePoint Sports.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one,
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Easton Smith continues on the mound for Easley Baseball Club. They trail Georgia Sauce 1-0 here in the bottom of the second inning in our game of the day from the U State Championships here out in Marietta Field at the LakePoint Sports Baseball Village. Cory McCartney along with Avery Hunt. Starting off with ball one to catcher Noah Moser. How many times does this happen where we see a guy make a key play and then we get to see him right at the plate the next inning? And that is indeed the case with Moser.
Yep, was able to show off the arm behind the plate, gunning down a runner at second base last inning, and now trying to set the table here as they start the bottom half of the second.
A nasty breaking ball from Easton Smith. He's now got a 1-1 count. Moser's prep baseball profile says undecided high school. I like that. That's a popular destination.
Let's get some hats on the table live on the broadcast.
There you go. Oh, it goes down on strikes. Easton Smith, a little bit of a strut down the mound there as he starts Moser off with a strikeout, and they'll go around the horn. Go from Moser to Dylan Holt. Dylan Holt, Peachtree Ridge, 2029. Yeah, if Noah Moser wants to grab some high school hats and bring them in here, we can do a commitment day. Ball gets away from Wiggins.
We've done a few of those in the past with the commitments
Yep.
on the not on the broadcast specific, but
yeah, I've had a few guys I've done those with. Cannon Golden in particular. Get to go up to Buford with him when he made his announcement that he was going to Ole Miss. Just misses. It would be cool to have a full-on baseball signing day, but it just doesn't really fit the same way because, it seems like guys are just, when the right situation comes along after that window opens, it's just not the same as football. And even football is not the same anymore when you have multiple signing days a year now.
yeah, that kind of the early signing day kind of took the sting out of the one that's in.
Yeah, the February one used to be just chaos. It was all over the place. I remember years ago when I was at Fox Sports being in Milton when they had Carl Lawson and Peyton Barber, who both ended up going to Auburn. When they had signing day for the two of them, I kind of shadowed them for the day. We had Robert Nkemdiche that same year that was going to Ole Miss. It was just, kind of chaos all over the place. But it's just not the same anymore with those multiple windows. Another strikeout for Easton Smith.
Yeah, that used to be like the best day of the year.
Yeah.
I was, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, and you just pull up 24/7 and
just watch them roll in. ESPN have wall-to-wall coverage of guys sitting behind tables with hats on them.
My favorite one as a Georgia fan, Isaiah Crowell.
Yep, the dog
pulls out the baby bulldog. It's like, I'm going to Georgia. It's like, all right, it's a nice little wrinkle.
If only he would have had multiple animals on the table with him.
It's like Georgia, Texas, and he's got Bevo in the background.
That's right. A little rooster, gamecock on the
That would be just like standing in a field with animals in the background.
That's right. I'm sure PETA would have issues with that, but
they get mad that Georgia's mascot sits in an air-conditioned house for 4 hours. I'm sure they wouldn't be thrilled with him sitting in a field.
That's right. 1-2 from Easton Smith, who has found his groove. Gets him on the corner for the inning-ending strikeout. Nice job, Easton Smith. Certainly found his rhythm as we roll along in our game of the day from the U State Championship. We'll be back from LakePoint Sports.
Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Get a look at John Beasley, Riker Dyer, and Jack Faber for Easley Baseball Club as we move along in the third inning of our game of the day from the U State Championship. Cory McCartney now joined by our own Grayson Rosen, Alex Paget back on the mound for Georgia Sauce. 1-0 is the lead for Georgia Sauce, taking advantage of looked to be a strong defensive play in center field for Easley, but runner took off from second base and never stopped moving and provided the first run of the game as Parker Souza showed off the wheels and some adept base running, and that's got Georgia Sauce in the lead here. We'll see if Easley Baseball Club can try to come up with an answer here in the third. Again, John Beasley leading off. He'll be followed by Riker Dyer and Jack Faber. Beasley from Houston High School in Tennessee, 2029, sends that down the left side foul. Second prep baseball event for John Beasley.
Yeah, definitely looking to get a good start here offensively for Easley. We saw some great pitching out of Easton Smith. He's got 5 strikeouts to this point. Just trying to help your guy out. I know you're down 1-0, but definitely a hill to climb as of right now.
Yeah, after that leadoff walk, it felt like Easton Smith really found his groove, and he looked fantastic during the bottom of the second inning, just eating guys up on the outside corners. We'll see if he continues that when he comes back out on the mound for the third. The 1-1 from Paget. Skies that one, see who's got it. Second baseman says it's his. It is, and we'll have one down. It's Riker Dyer's turn. Briarcrest 2029, Tennessee, 5th prep baseball event for him. Outfielder and left-handed pitcher. Starts him off with ball 1. See where Paget goes next. Just enough of that to send it foul.
Yeah, Paget's doing a good job kind of switching up his velocity, not really throwing too many off speeds or really going to the secondary stuff that much, but switching up his velocity on the fastball and just kind of putting it everywhere, making sure people don't get into any kind of patterns with him and create swing and miss right there.
I got him in a 1-2 hole. Smartly holds off and run the count even. Jack Faber in the on-deck circle. Carter Flea, the number 10 hitter, will get a chance if the inning goes that far. I have to say I've been pleasantly surprised with the level of pitching that we've seen as the calendars flip to our youth events. Nothing against these younger arms. It's just a lot of these guys end up. We see him go down on strikes. Some guys moving back to the 60 feet 6 inches for the first time, and then certainly when you have a lot of the guys who are just deciding they're going to take the fall off to give their arms a rest. I think you always wonder about, all right, what's the pitching going to look like during the late fall youth season? And so far, so good, I think, over these first couple events.
Yeah, and I think that's something that just with how pitchers and players just in general are expected to practice and train now is something that we can almost eliminate because these guys are doing it all year. They're staying warm. I think a long time, for a very long time, the younger guys, even if you were a pitcher or not at this level, you probably weren't spending, 365 days a year focusing on your craft, but I think that's just become much more normal. And so we keep seeing guys come out and they're fresh and they're ready to go. And I think it's really helped the quality of play that we've seen here this fall.
Jack Faber, the Memphis University 2029, skies that back foul, but Noah Mosier.
Super close.
Super close, man. Seen some really strong play behind the plate so far from Noah Mosier. Saw him throw a runner out in the second inning and nearly had that one for the inning ending out here in the third.
I'm sure if we still had former catcher Avery Hunt in the booth right now, he'd be explaining how difficult it really is to catch a pop-up like that with a catcher's mitt.
Miss from Padgett. Comes a 2-2. Puts that one into play. Second baseman's got it. It's 2 in the inning for him, and we're through 2.5 here in our game of the day from the U State Championship from LakePoint Sports. 1-0 continues to be the lead for Georgia Sauce. We're going to take a quick break and be back and see if they can continue to build on this lead. We're still, by the way, looking for our first hit in this matchup, and we'll see if that comes as we roll along. We'll be back momentarily from the premier youth sports and travel destination.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
It's Georgia Sauce's turn here in the bottom of the third inning. They'll have Jace Giannotti, Colton Carpenter, and Weston Brisky at the plate. Easton Smith, though, has looked awfully sharp since allowing a leadoff walk that turned into the first run for Georgia Sauce. We'll see what he has in store here. Misses high to start things off against Giannotti. No runs on no hits for Easley Baseball Club. 1 run on no hits for Georgia Sauce as we sit here in the bottom of the third. Cory McCartney. Got Grayson Rosen with me. Now 2-0 is the count here against Giannotti. Been a lot to like out of Easton Smith as we've seen him really just kind of lock in since that opening walk to Souza. But he's now got a 3-0 count here against Giannotti. Going to allow a leadoff walk to Giannotti, so just like he did in the first inning, we're going to have a base runner for Georgia Sauce.
I think Easton Smith's just in a tough spot right now. We've already mentioned how he's pitching so well. He's only given up these walks to this point, and it seems like he's kind of rolling on the mound, but he's in that tough spot of pitching from behind, and he has no control over it as it stands. So you just kind of got to keep working and hope that when it flips back over to your offense that your guys can help you out.
I always like to talk to catchers about just the understanding of a pitcher and knowing to go out and say the right thing at the right time. I mentioned that Easton Smith and Kason Wiggins, both on their way to Lewisburg High School in Mississippi, are going to be doing this together, both here at Easley and in the high school seasons for years to come. So how do you know when to say the right thing and kind of learning your pitchers in that way? And that's something that Wiggins says he kind of prides himself on. So we saw him go out there and say a few words to Easton. We'll see if that helps him rebound here. He's got a 1-2 count against Colton Carpenter.
Yeah, and that connection between a pitcher and catcher is so important, and something that maybe gets taken for granted when we talk about the travel ball circuit, and you've got these pitchers that show up for the day, pitch their game and leave, or even a catcher that gets picked up for the weekend because they just need some guy to put behind the plate. It's just something that maybe gets looked over and can play a huge factor when you're talking about the length at which a pitcher can stay in the game.
Well, whatever Wiggins said, it absolutely worked as Easton Smith gets the strikeout of Carpenter, and there's now one down for Weston Brisky. Weston Brisky, Collins Hill 2029, second prep baseball event for him. Another miss arm side from Smith. It's going to make it 2-0. Swings through that. 69.8 is the readout on our gun there. Now 2-1 is the count. Already got a runner at first. Can't really afford another walk. Swings through. Strike two.
I'm really interested to see what Georgia Sauce, kind of for the remainder of this, while at least they hold this 1-0 lead, what their approach looks like at the plate. It's a very tough situation to be in because you want to be aggressive, but you also don't want to set yourself up for failure in a couple spots, and you still want to put more runs up.
Well, the count is full here to Brisky. Oh, he swings through that, gets him searching on the outside of the plate. Another strikeout for Easton Smith.
That's a beautiful pitch right there by Easton Smith. He almost forced him to swing at it by hitting that spot a couple of times in the at-bat and then bringing it just a little bit lower but keeping the same eye level. It was very well placed and probably a big part of why he's got 7 strikeouts to this point.
Back to Parker Souza, the top of the order. Parker drew a walk in his first AB that ended up again resulting in the first run of this game. I'm sure that's on the mind of Easton Smith here. Like to collect himself another strikeout. Puts that in play. Third baseman's got it. The throw across is in time. Clean inning for Easton Smith and Easley Baseball Club. Georgia Sauce, though, has a 1-0 lead as we are now through 3 innings in our game of the day from the U-State Championship. We're going to be back momentarily as we continue our action from the Audi Marietta Field here at the Baseball Village at LakePoint Sports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
We return here at LakePoint Sports for our game of the day from the Youth State Championship. Cory, McCartney, Grayson, Rosen with you. Carter Flea, the number 10 hitter for Easley Baseball Club, leading off against Alex Paget. Cason Wiggins will be sitting in the on-deck circle, and then followed by Easton Smith for Easley. Looking to get back in this one. They trail 1-0 here in the top of the 4th inning. Been a well-pitched game from both sides. No hits on either side so far. If Carter Flea can change that, he's got a 1-1 count, make it 2-1 against Paget. It's going to run the count even. Flea watches that for strike 2. Houston High School out of Tennessee. So here in Georgia, we say Houston. There in Tennessee, in Texas, they say Houston.
Yeah, and we had Houston or the Houston from Tennessee here for Battle for Bartow.
Yep, yeah, that's right.
Here.
So a leadoff walk for Easley Baseball Club for Carter Flea, and now we're back to the top of the order and Cason Wiggins.
That's really big right there for Easley to get the final batter in your order on base and bring up the top of your lineup with no outs. It's definitely your best start and potentially your best opportunity at scoring some runs here.
Right guys at the right time for Easley Baseball Club. Wiggins jumps on first pitch, sends that down the left side. That's into left field, so that's going to be the first hit of the game off the bat of Cason Wiggins. He advances Flea to second. Easley finds themselves in a great opportunity now, 84.3 off the bat for Wiggins.
Looks like maybe everybody just needed a look at what they were bringing on the mound before they got things heated up. 84 off the bat was well hit and well done by Cason Wiggins.
Opposing pitcher, Easton Smith, who has 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, no hits. Courtesy runner for Wiggins. How many times do you see a team lead off with their catcher and have the pitcher be their number 2 hitter?
Certainly an interesting dynamic there, but we'll see if that plan works out.
Certainly says something about the level of athletes that they've got at those 2 positions, as that's going back foul.
I don't know if it actually went foul.
I think it did. I think it hit off. Yeah, I think he pulled back and hit off the glove.
Okay. Yeah, so the runners will advance.
Runners will advance, and it's a 1-0 count.
I think that's an underrated tactic when bunting. It's maybe not the planned outcome, but something that can happen where you're kind of just blocking the catcher's view of the ball because you're still trying to place it, and then you pull back. Catcher kind of gets a little disoriented trying to track the ball, and then you have a mishap like that where it bounces off the glove, and all of a sudden you've got 2 runners in scoring position, no outs with your number 2 batter at the plate.
A few words there for Alex Paget and co. from Christopher Watts. 5,000 Watts is his nickname, played baseball at Jackson State University. Really interesting guy coaching Georgia Sauce today. Senior epidemiologist with the CDC, pursuing his PhD in health and human performance at Concordia. So he's got the baseball side, he's got that side. Oh, and he's a podcast host as well. Grounds out to first, throw back to second. Not in time, so the runners will stay at second and third as Easton Smith grounds out for out number 1.
I don't mind the aggressiveness right there by Cason Wiggins. Obviously, Cooper Flea didn't go anywhere at third base, but you could, potentially draw an errant throw there, the one that they're not really planning to make, and maybe you do score a run, but you get back safely, and no harm, no foul.
Briarcrest Christian Schools, Cannon Jewel now at the plate. 1 down, runners at second and third. Starts him off the ball 1.
I think Easley's done a really good job of being patient in their at-bats this inning. Taking a lot of counts to 3 balls or, at least 5 pitches total and making things happen.
Paget fires. It's now 2-0. Brett Little awaits in the on-deck circle. Courtesy runner Karsten Kent standing at second after we saw the first hit of the game off the bat of Cason Wiggins. That one goes foul. Karsten Kent at 2028 Itawamba Agricultural High School in Mississippi.
I don't know if I've ever heard of an agricultural high school.
No.
Very interesting.
I sort of wonder if it's, you know, somewhat similar to an A&M.
Could be. Yeah, they probably just have a little bit of focus and maybe something in the community that makes them an agricultural school.
Yeah. Three-one is the count to Cannon Jewel runners again at second and third. Misses inside, so another walk, the second of the inning for Alex Pageant. We now have the bases loaded with one down, and here comes Brett Little. Hernando 2028 with a chance to cash in here.
We talked about a scenario like this earlier in the broadcast, a lefty coming to the plate behind in the game, bases loaded. I don't know if we're going to see a grand slam like Freddie Freeman, but we could see something happen here and get some things rolling, getting the score sheet for easily, but looks like they made a pitching change, and we'll have to wait a little longer for that moment.
So Christopher Watts takes the ball out of the hands of Alex Pageant, and let's see who they're going to now to replace him on the mound. And so everyone else, you know, there's two guys wearing red shirts, everybody else for Georgia Sauce in blue. On Star Trek, if you wore a red shirt, it meant that you were not coming back from the mission. Those were typically the guys that didn't make it back. So let's hope that that's not going to be the case for Georgia Sauce here, and it's not a bad omen. So we've got, again, a new pitcher on the mound for Georgia Sauce, and we will now get our first look at Daniel LaBelle, North Gwinnett 2029. In the low 70s to start off as he goes through his warm-up pitches. Not a big Star Trek guy, just used to watch it a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah. Never was my thing. I think I kind of missed that. I think that ship had sailed for me, and then I think they've brought it back so many different times, but I don't know, never necessarily caught my attention. I kind of grew up just doing this, so that's where my focus was. I was getting up in the morning watching like Sports Center top 10 plays before I had to catch the bus.
All right, well, I was more of a Star Wars guy growing up than I was Star Trek, but we still my parents didn't let us have cable TV when I was growing up, so we had like 5 channels. So
yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's what it was like in the 80s. So
yeah, growing up in the late 2000s, early 2010s, just about had access to everything that I could have possibly wanted to watch. So that turned into sports at all times.
Well, talking about it sounds like I grew up on Little House on the Prairie, but that was not the case outside of Columbus, Ohio. But so here is Brett Little with a chance to cash in, and the base is loaded here with one down on the top of the fourth. Sends the first offering from LaBelle foul. I think the readout that we've got on Daniel LaBelle is wrong. We've got him at 5'6", 150 pounds.
No.
Yeah,
definitely taller than 5'6".
Time to update the baseball profile. That one's going to get away from the catcher, Wiggins.
Lucky that nobody advanced there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Karsten Kent standing at second base. Wiggins was the reason he was standing at second base, but Noah Mosier is behind the plate for Georgia Sauce, and I didn't have to worry about a runner making a break for home. LaBelle with the 1-1. Another miss. Been no bigger opportunity for Easley Baseball Club, looking for that first run. Got their first hit this inning, couple walks. Now they have a chance with Brett Little at the plate to cash in and even this thing up, if not more. Now 3-1-1 pitch now away from tying this thing up.
Yeah, certainly a interesting spot for Little to be in right now.
LaBelle fires. Little puts that one into play. It's into right field as it skips past the second baseman. There goes one run.
Oh, and he had
Here
trouble
comes one.
fielding it.
Another gets away from the runner. All goes away into the third. As Little's going to be standing at third base. He's going to make his way all the way home. The throw is going to be in time. They got him trying to stretch it out for an inside the park home run, but 3 runs still score for Easley Baseball Club off the bat of Brett Little. A little too aggressive there as he tried to cash that in and turn it in to an inside the park homer, but nonetheless, Easley Baseball Club find themselves up here in the 4th inning.
That was a fantastic piece of hitting just to start it off. 88 off the bat, getting straight past the second baseman who was playing in on the grass trying to stop a run from scoring. Ends up getting past him, and then a little bit of trouble playing the ball out in right field. And they luckily got it in time to stop an inside the park home run, but certainly didn't fully stop the bleeding with the 3 runs coming across.
Well, a quick AB for Jack Horton as he grounds out. Easley Baseball Club, though, have taken control. They lead 3-1 here in the top of the 4th inning. Brett Little coming through big time. That one going all the way to the wall. He was standing at third base and a little bit too aggressive as he tried to turn that into a inside the park homer. But nonetheless, he's got 3 RBI on his day, and it's got Easley Baseball Club up. We'll be back from our game of the day from the Youth State Championship.
Where's it written? Only grill burgers? Nowhere. That's where. Now throw on some sausage and keep it juicy.
Boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect, I'm the man in command, come flow with the sounds of the mighty mic.
We were waiting for our first hits in this game of the day from the U State Championship, and 2 of them came off the bat of Easley Baseball Club's lineup in the top of the 4th inning, and it's got them leading 3-1 here in this matchup against Georgia Sauce, as we saw Kason Wiggett's single and then Brett Little with a triple that got thrown out trying to extend it all the way to home, but 3 runs scored nonetheless. Just waiting on our scoreboard to update here as Easley Baseball Club has taken command in our game of the day in this pool play action. Cory McCartney along with Grayson Rosen with you. A new pitcher on the mound for Easley Baseball Club as we see the exit of Easton Smith, and we've now got Scoggins, who I don't believe I had on the roster going into today's action, but excuse me, Jay Scoggins. Yeah, I do have Jay Scoggins on here. Tipton Rosemark Academy in Tennessee. He's taken over for, again, Easton Smith, who was absolutely electric after allowing a leadoff walk. He allowed one more walk along the way, but 7 strikeouts, and just a pretty dominant outing from Easton Smith, and we'll see how Scoggins follows that up.
Yeah, I'm already liking what I'm seeing from Jay Scoggins on the mound right now. He's switching up the speed on the first 3 pitches. He goes curveball, fastball, curveball, hitting it up to like 75 on the fastball, bringing the curveball down to 66, 65. So certainly making these guys have a whole different look at the pitch.
Grounds out to second for the first out. So we'll go from Max Carter to Braden Turgeon. Turgeon Brookwood 2029, second prep baseball event for him.
Yeah, I think for Easley, now that you got that lead, you're not too worried about taking out Easton Smith, potentially saving him for later this weekend. You might see him tomorrow if they end up making a run-through bracket play. So I don't mind the decision. He did his job. He got the lead before he left the game and pitched outstanding 3 innings, almost perfect.
Yeah, we allowed a leadoff walk to Parker Souza that Georgia Sauce ended up turning into the first run of the game, and just a, unfortunately a little lackadaisical play in center field after making a pretty strong catch, and we just saw some aggressiveness from Georgia Sauce, and he just allowed one more walk along the way. That one skied foul.
Yeah, and on that sac fly that ended up scoring the run, that was one of 2 outs that he didn't make via the strikeout in those 3 innings. So certainly an impressive day for Easton Smith. You can kind of shake off the 1 run you gave up now because you got the 2-run lead, but Easley still has some work to do with a 2-run lead here in the game.
Third base has got it. The throw is in time for the second out.
That's a great throw across the diamond right there.
Cannon Jewel showing off the arm, and now 2 down.
He had the layup there. Cannon Jewel showing off the cannon.
That's right. Now it's time for Daniel LaBelle. LaBelle has taken over on the mound for Georgia Sauce. Looking to get back, I'm sure, at Easley after he was tagged for that 3-run triple. It's in for a strike. Scoggins gets that in for strike number 2.
I think it really helps out Easley as well that they made that pitching change heading into 2, 3, 4 in the lineup. I think it's really been a good change of pace for them and avoided Georgia Sauce maybe getting used to what they were seeing from Easton Smith.
So we saw Wiggins set up way outside there. They did not get LaBelle to bite. Counts now 2-2. We saw that play to their favor earlier when they tried to set up way outside and got somebody chasing. Puts that into play. Second baseman's got it. The throw is not going to be in time. Nice athletic play there at second base, but we have our first hit for Georgia Sauce as LaBelle gets on via the kind of bouncer that goes into over the top of the pitcher's head and then into second base's territory into center field, but could not make the play to get the runner at first, and so the inning will continue.
Yeah, that's just an extremely difficult play to make if anybody's ever even, when you think about momentum, whether you know physics or not.
That's right.
Running one direction and trying to turn and throw and actually get an accurate and well-thrown ball is almost impossible. So good job to just get that in and
frankly, to
slow it down from getting extra bases.
And to get it to the first baseman.
Yeah.
I think we take for granted when you see guys like Manny Machado that make plays like that. It just seems so easy.
And those guys are, they've got 10, 15 years on these guys and quite a bit of size and strength on them as well.
Well, Jack Faber nearly pulled it off at second base, so impressed nonetheless with the effort there as he's able to get that over to first base. And as you mentioned, avoid the potential of extra bases because sometimes on those wild throws over to first base, the guy may not get it there, but the fact that he was able to get it, even though he fell to the turf, still managed to get it there. And although LaBelle finds himself at first with a 2-out single.
Something interesting we could have seen them do, which I have seen done in the MLB, is when they're trying to make the play like that and they toss it to the shortstop and the shortstop finishes the play for him. It definitely would have been a much closer play, but no telling if it would have been completed.
Noah Mosier skies this one foul. Had fellow catcher Kason Wiggins on the run, but CB will continue. 2-2's the count. Scoggins fires, hits Mosier in the back, so we'll have runners at first and second with 2 down. first baseman Dylan Holt. Keeson Wiggins going to go out and have a word with Scoggins. Well, we saw Wiggins go out and talk to Easton Smith, ended up resulting in a couple more strikeouts for his fellow Lewisburg battery mate, but see how that works with Scoggins.
And I think we just got a courtesy runner at first base during their deliberation at the mound.
I didn't quite see who checked in for Noah Mosier. Dylan Holt skies that, second base. Oh, unable to make the play, but he's kept it from going in. I think you got to be impressed with what we've seen from Jack Faber. Man, a couple plays there where he just limits things from going any further than they could. If that ball would have gotten away from him too much, I think Georgia Sauce would have had its second run. But he's able to keep the runner at third base, and they'll have him at the corners here with 2 down.
Yeah, that was some unfortunate circumstances. He had kind of cooped up under it, and then he had the runner kind of try to get out of his way and go behind him. I think he just wasn't too aware of where he was at and just got a little tripped up trying to make the play. And luckily, like you said, just a little bit of damage control there at the end.
Swing and a miss.
Because you never really think about, you missed the pop-up and you think it's just going to die there. But especially on a turf field like that, it could, bounce high or roll off hard. So there's no telling, but let's see if they can make it up here with a catch.
First base does, in fact, end it, so they'll strand 2 runners. Easley Baseball Club continues to lead 3-1 over Georgia Sauce in our game of the day from the U State Championship. So far we've seen 2 hits apiece for both of these teams, and been a well-pitched game thus far, and we'll see if that continues as we move along to the 5th inning. We'll be back shortly from the Baseball Village at LakePoint Sports.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports. Daniel LaBelle is back on the mound for Georgia Sauce. His team trails 3-1 over Easley Baseball Club here in the top of the 5th inning. We're going to see McLean Garner, John Beasley, and Riker Dyer at the plate for Easley Baseball Club here to start things off in the 5th inning. 2 hits apiece for Easley and Georgia Sauce. Saw LaBelle come in to pitch in relief of Alex Paget. Paget with a really strong pitched game. He had yet to allow a hit when he had exited, but Easley Baseball Club taking advantage in the 4th inning, scoring a couple runs as they get, or 3 runs, excuse me, as they get a leadoff single from Cason Wiggins, and then the big blow coming with a 3-run triple from Brett Little. It's got them with a 2-run lead here over Georgia Sauce in the 5th.
Yeah, I think we'll see a much different look out of the approach from Easley at the plate now. Now you're operating with a 2-run lead. You've kind of gotten that monkey off your back by just getting some runs on the board and knowing that, okay, yeah, the offense can do it when they need to, and definitely take a little bit of the stress off their shoulders.
Collierville's McLean Garner, 2029 at the plate, right-handed pitcher and catcher. Second prep baseball event for McLean. LaBelle drops that in for a strike. Counts now 1-2. Corner will be followed by, again, John Beasley and Riker Dyer. Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Daniel LaBelle.
Yeah, good use of the secondary stuff right there. It just pulled the string on it and just had no chance at the plate.
John Beasley 0 for 1. Beasley, another Houston High School, Tennessee, 2029. One gets away from Mosier. I would love to know why in Georgia do we say Houston instead of Houston? When you have a major city that's spelled the exact same way, it's like you should be beholden to that.
Exactly, and Georgia is chock full of cities that share the name with a city in a different state.
Well, or Cairo, which is Cairo.
That is true.
You know, there's literally
we also have Athens, Rome, Canton. None of those are said differently anywhere else.
Yeah.
Woodstock.
But
nothing. Nothing's different.
But then you have Albany, New York, and you definitely do not have Albany, Georgia.
That's true.
Albany.
Yeah.
During future games, I had to give Prep Baseball Sean Duncan a breakdown on the Georgia pronunciations because he was.
There's a couple of them that'll get you.
That's right.
You're riding down 75. You'll see some signs where you might not figure out how to say it.
That's right. Comes a 2-1 from LaBelle.
They gave him the drop third right there. So I guess that was 2-2 that we saw right there, and a drop third, but a quick tag by Mosier behind the plate.
All right, so technically a couple strikeouts there for Daniel LaBelle, and now he's got Riker Dyer at the plate. Briarcrest 2029. Miss, but a nice scoop there from Mosier. LaBelle with the 1-0. Sends that down the third base side foul. So Avery spilled the beans there that you picked the Dodgers in 5 in the World Series. So
yeah, sure did. For me, it's more just who I'm like the players that I want to root for, and I think with the Dodgers, there's a lot more likable players. I know it's not a franchise I root for, nor a market that I root for. I've had my quarrels with the writers of for the LA Dodgers in particular, especially in some of our playoff series, but. I'm never going to stop rooting for Freddie Freeman. I'm a lifetime Braves fan, and then Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts are two of the most fun players to watch in the league.
A sky out will end the inning. Easley Baseball Club unable to build on their lead, but they are still up 3-1 over Georgia Sauce. We're going to bring Jay Scoggins back out on the mound for another inning of work for Easley Baseball Club. See if Georgia Sauce can kind of break through. They've got 2 hits for Easley Baseball Club, and we'll see what the bottom of the 5th inning has in store when we come back from our game of the day from the U-State Championship. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back from LakePoint Sports.
Where's it written? Only grill burgers? Nowhere. That's where. Now throw on some sausage and keep it juicy.
Boogie, woogie, jam, slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty Mike.
Welcome back. 3-1 is our lead for Easley Baseball Club over Georgia Sauce. Jay Scoggins returns to work for Easley Baseball Club. His team has a 2-run lead on Georgia Sauce. See if they can continue to lock that down. Georgia Sauce trying to find some rhythm at the plate. They've not scored since the first inning when they turned a leadoff walk into a run off of a sacrifice hit into center field. We'll call it a sacrifice, but really just a long hit ball that some heads-up base running turned into a run. But Georgia Sauce looking to fight their way back. Cory McCartney along with Grayson Rosen. Throw down from Wiggins, the second in time. Get us going here in this inning. Jace Giannotti, Colton Carpenter, and Weston Brisky bat this inning for Georgia Sauce. Jace Giannotti, a Buford 2029. Plays second base, shortstop, and righty that gets on the mound as well. Scoggins now has a 2-0 count on Giannotti. Right down the middle for strike one.
Yeah, I think if you're Scoggins, you're kind of hoping to have a little bit more of a low stress inning compared to what we saw last inning. Things kind of almost got out of hand. Luckily, you had some good damage control at second base, but you kind of hope that you can just kind of get in and get out this time.
Not a game where it looks like time is going to be a factor. We're, again, already sitting here in the bottom of the fifth inning. We got about half an hour of game time still remaining in this one, so a good chance we end up playing all 7 innings, especially the way these two teams have pitched. Goes down on strikes. Jay Scoggins gets a strikeout of Giannotti to start things off here in the 5th. And here comes Colton Carpenter, 2029 of Cumming, Georgia. Flicks that back foul. Hits off of Wiggins. It's now 1-1.
I think on Georgia Sauce's side, you're just trying to find productivity wherever you can right now in the lineup. Nobody's in particular having a standout performance, and you've got 2 hits now after last inning, but it was definitely a bit of a rough start to the game, and you were lucky to be rolling with a lead there early, and now it just kind of feels like you're back in that same spot where you just can't quite break through, and you're hoping that you can start putting something together, because we, like you acknowledge, we're moving through this game pretty quickly.
Another strikeout for Scoggins. So back-to-back strikeouts of Giannotti and Carpenter, and now he's got Weston Brisky. Brisky, Collins Hill, 2029. Brisky puts that in play. That's going to be caught for the 3rd out. Of course, one of those instances where our AI cameras didn't necessarily catch up with the game action, but nonetheless, a quick and clean inning for Jay Scoggins holds up this 3-1 lead for Easley Baseball Club over Georgia Sauce. We're going to move along to the 6th inning of our action. We'll be back from the U State Championships here at LakePoint Sports.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
See Jack Faber at the plate now. He's going to be followed by Carter Lee and Grayson Wiggins for Easley Baseball Club. He puts that into play to start things off here in the sixth and into the glove of center field for out number one. Daniel LaBelle continues on the mound for Georgia Sauce very quickly. Gets out number one. Now we're back to the Carter Flea, excuse me. Carter Flea, Houston 2029. That's in for a strike from LaBelle. Easley Baseball Club's got a 3-1 lead over Georgia Sauce. Oh, LaBelle gets it on the outside corner for the strike. He's got an 0-2 count now on Flea. Flea holds the swing. He did not go.
Yeah, good work holding up on that one. That's a tough pitch to figure out and even tougher to hold back on swinging it. So good work right there to keep yourself alive.
There's the 1-2. Runs the count even. After this, it's the top of the order for Easley Baseball Club as Grayson Wiggins awaits in the on-deck circle, and then Easton Smith.
Yeah, this is that same group right now that got things rolling and scored those 3 runs that they have on the board right now. So looking to see if you can't get something back out of it again.
Although we'll have to wait and see whether or not Jay Scoggins takes Easton Smith's spot in the lineup as well.
It's true. Maybe that plays into their favor as Easton Smith was the one in that group that got out.
Flea to second base, bobbles, but gets it in time to first for out number 2. Grayson Wiggins provided the first hit of the game in the 4th inning. Now Lewisburg 2029 comes to the plate with 2 down here in the 6th. Jumps on the first pitch, rocket 88.1 off his bat, but that's going to be the inning-ending count. It's going to be caught. Absolute rocket, though, off the bat of Grayson Wiggins, but unfortunately it results in an inning-ending catch. Easley Baseball Club, though, they still lead 3-1 over Georgia Sauce. We're going to move along to the bottom of the 6th inning in our game of the day from the U State Championship here from LakePoint Sports Baseball Village. Don't go anywhere. Our action continues.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
Boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect, I'm the
Got the top of the order awaiting here for Georgia Sauce here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We'll see Parker Souza, Max Carter, and Braden Turgeon. Still got Jay Scoggins on the mound for Easley Baseball Club. His team is up 3-1. All those runs coming in the 4th inning off the bat of Brett Little, who had a 3-run triple. Caught trying to extend that into an inside the park home run, but nonetheless still drove in 3 and's got his team leading here in the bottom of the 6th in what has been, by and large, an extremely well-pitched game. Just 2 hits apiece for each of these teams, and we'll see if Jay Scoggins can keep that trend going here and try to continue to get his team inching closer to a big pool play win here in the U State Championship. Cory McCartney back here with you with Grayson Rosen.
Yeah, in last inning, we came in here and said, Scoggins probably looking to get out of this one quickly. Well, it was about a maximum 5-minute inning for him on the mound. So he definitely got in and got out, and then a relatively quick inning for his offensive side as well. And he's right back up there looking maybe for the same thing, because like we've talked about a couple times now in the past couple innings, we are flying through this game. Just 20 minutes left on the clock. That one's skied out to right field, and
a misplayed ball in right field. Runner's going to take off for second base. It's going to get away from the second baseman. Is he going to make his way to third? No, he's going to hold at second. No one has benefited more from some miscues in this game than Parker Souza, who now finds himself standing at second base with a key base runner for Georgia Sauce here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, it seems like the sun has kind of gotten up to about straight up in the air now, so I think on a couple of these, the pop-up is just that much harder when you've got the sun kind of blocking your vision for it as well. So tough look there for Easley, but hopefully Scoggins can make up for it and get right back to what he was doing.
Max Carter now at the plate with runner in scoring position in the form of Parker Souza. Wiggins stops that from going any further. And tough play in right field there for McLean Garner. Souza's going to hit him in the back.
I think he moved out of the way somehow.
Did he?
Yeah.
I think the umpire seemed a little bit confused. I think for a second there he thought it hit Max Carter, but he will continue this AB.
And now you got the runner on third, so Georgia Sauce making a late push it, potentially bringing this one back. It's only a 2-run game, so you're tying runs at the plate and no outs. Now your time runs on first. And
yeah, Souza's going to take off, cross the plate easily, so it's now 3-2.
And once again, they just score on just a couple of mistakes in a row that make that happen, and now all of a sudden Georgia Sauce is just a run out of making this a game.
The old movie Angels in the Outfield, there were ghosts on the field that would influence the play and allow the California Angels to score runs. I'm not saying that we have ghosts here at LakePoint Sports, but I am saying that Parker Souza has weird things happen when he is on the base pass, and we just saw that happen again. Is a wild pitch, gets away from Casey Wiggins, and results in the second run of the game for Georgia Sauce. Both of them scored by Parker Souza.
And now that takes Jay Scoggins out of the game. Easily makes a pitching change to maybe just stop the bleeding before it gets too bad.
Now see Jack Horton, catcher, first baseman. Third baseman is now you're seeing now right-handed pitcher from McCrew, Mississippi. We've got him with a fastball velo around 74, so let's see where he gets to on these warm-up pitches.
You're already in the low 70s with the warm-ups, and doesn't seem to be throwing 100% right now, so we'll likely see something in there in the low to mid-70s.
Just saw a breaking ball for him that got into the 50s. 5'11", 150-pounder.
Another off speed there that was looking like a change up, had a little more arm side movement. So looking at potentially a 3-pitch mix here.
pressure is certainly building as Georgia Sauce made this a one-run game here in the bottom of the 6th. Braden Turgeon's going to get his chance to start things off here against Jack Horton.
And Turgeon just one of 2 players in this lineup that hasn't gone down via the strikeout yet in this game.
Well, unfortunately, he's going to be the first one to get the initial look at Jack Horton, so we'll see what Horton has in store for him here. Is nobody out, 3-2 ball game now here in the 6th. Runner at first. Be interested to see if they test the arm of Kason Wiggins. I asked him during your warm-up pitches between innings, how much do you show of the arm? And he says he holds a little bit back.
Of course.
Yeah.
You gotta leave him surprised. You can't, go into the inning thinking, or putting the thought in the opposing coach's mind like, oh, we can't run on this guy. You want to make him try a couple of times, because if you don't show it off in warmups, then they're guessing the first time. Maybe you get them and they think, oh, it's lightning in a bottle, and then they get you again, and all of a sudden you've almost influenced an entire inning of outs in 2 throws.
We'll see if Georgia Sauce is willing to test that arm. The throw from Horton over to first. Max Carter at first base, Braden Turgeon at the plate. There's the secondary from Horton, but it missed to make it 2-1.
I think in this situation that Georgia Sauce finds themselves in right now, you just have to stay patient at all times.
Gets a strike on the outside. Now 2-2. I don't think Braden Turgeon liked that call, but he's now got 2 strikes on him.
Yeah, he kind of gave a unamusing stare to his third base coach, it looked like.
Horton doesn't get that call. It's going to run the count full. Big pitch here for Jack Horton in his first few throws. Turgeon ropes that one over top. The shortstop's head. That has them on the run. That's going to make its way all the way back to the warning track. He cuts it off. Runner's taken off for home. Braden Turgeon has himself a game-tying double. We are squared at 3-3 here in the bottom of the 6th.
That's great work by Georgia Sauce. I talked about how they just needed to be patient at this point in the game and let the game come to them. Well, you get to a 3-2 count and you send an 85-mile-per-hour rope out into the gap and just about rolls to the wall, and you've got a tied-up ball game here, bottom of the 6th, on a huge double.
We are setting up for a great finish here in this pool play game. Daniel LaBelle now at the plate. Is taking over on the mound for Georgia Sauce. Call for time, but didn't get it. Now works out in his favor. It's now a 1-0 count. Skies this one. Who's got it? Left fielder does. It's now 1 down.
I'm sure Easley's head coach was kind of holding his breath during that one.
Yeah, the shortstop making a run into left field, and the left fielder has to make a catch off to the side. Couldn't get underneath the ball.
Now they've got 1 out, so you're starting to feel a little bit better, but definitely not the way that Horton expected his outing to begin.
This is big for Georgia Sauce because you go into the top of the 7th with a chance to wrap this thing up and not having to go out and try to win it in the 7th. So they're going to see if they can move this runner along, I'm sure. It's in for a strike off the swing. Braden Turgeon standing at second base, got himself an RBI double. Sends that one in the left field. Another catch. So now 2 down.
Yeah, I think Georgia Sauce right now, you can't get caught up in the hero moment. You just have to let things come to you here naturally and not really push it. We talked about, patience was so big for them, and they waited so long to break through. You score your first run on some defensive mishaps in the first inning. You wait all the way till the bottom of the 6th to get back in the score sheet, and now I think they're just getting a little bit too antsy at the plate, wanting to be the guy that brings in that leading run.
There's 2 down now for Dylan Holt. He's got an 0-1 count already. So we saw Noah Mosier fly out to left. Holt skies this one foul. It's now 0-2. Jack Horton glances back at Turgeon, throws, got him on the corner, ends it with a strikeout, but Georgia Sauce has tied this thing up at 3-3. Braden Turgeon scoring Parker Souza to notch this thing up. Well, it's squared at 3-3. Actually, Braden Turgeon scoring Max Carter. Parker Souza scoring off of a wild pitch, and that's how we've gone from a 3-1 game to a tied-up game at 3-3 heading to the top of the 7th inning. Fitting for a fantastic finish here at LakePoint Sports. We'll be back from the U-State Championship.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
It's Daniel LaBelle back on the mound here for the 7th inning for Georgia Sauce. His team has tied this thing up at 3-3. Again, Braden Turgeon with the RBI double, scoring Max Carter to tie this up. Georgia Sauce have been held scoreless since the top of the 1st inning when Parker Souza turned a leadoff walk into a run as he scored on a ball hit into center field from second base. Then we see Parker Souza score again off of a wild pitch that made it 3-2, and then Braden Turgeon with the heroics there to notch things up. We are going to see Easton Smith, by the way. Cory McCartney joined by Grayson Rosen, and Easton Smith is going to lead things off here. He was the starting pitcher for Easley Baseball Club. We're sure if he was going to get another chance to hit here. He'd been replaced by Jay Scoggins on the mound, but he is your leadoff hitter here in the 7th, and he'll be followed by Cannon Jewell and then Brett Little. Last we saw Brett Little, he was delivering a go-ahead 3-run triple in the 4th inning. Now that hit Easton Smith on the leg. He's going to limp his way down to first base with a leadoff HBP.
I think if that really got him bad in the knee, you might want to think about subbing him out, and because this is a big spot in this game, and you can't really have a base runner on the paths that's not running at 100%.
Now we'll see if he does get replaced on the base pass.
Looks like we're having a conversation over there, so might be seeing a maybe just giving him a second to stretch and then getting back to it.
All right, gets a signal from the third base coach, so it will be Cannon Jewell to plate, and Easton Smith will continue at first base after getting hit by the pitch. LaBelle misses. Moser stops that from going any further. Intensity certainly ratcheting up here in the 7th. Kind of went through a lull there after we saw the 3-run score from Easley. Looked like they may be cruising to a win. Dribbler, 1 out, and there's the 2nd out. Nice job at shortstop there from Parker Souza, who has continued to influence this game. Gets himself a double play there, and there's now 2 down as we'll move things over to Brett Little.
That was a great play there in the infield to get that double play. That was off the bat at just about 84 miles an hour, 83.9, and you make a good play on it, no struggle there, and you perfectly turn to and get the double play, and all of a sudden putting your team in a fantastic spot as we're into our final inning of action.
A few words here between LaBelle and Moser.
I think you just have to have a conversation about, let's avoid what happened last time. Is maybe this time he'll be a second faster and roll into home plate safely.
Yeah, Brett Little's last AB, a 3-run triple that he tried to extend into an inside the park home run and got thrown out at home.
It was a matter of milliseconds.
He skies the first pitch. Souza has it, and that'll end the inning. So we're going to go to the bottom of the 7th. Georgia Sauce, who just scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th, has a chance to walk this thing off. It's going to be an exciting finish here in our game of the day from the U-State Championships. You'll definitely want to stick around and watch the finale and climax of this one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back from the LakePoint Sports Baseball Village.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
We are on to the bottom of the 7th inning in what has been a fantastic game of the day here in the U-State Championships from the Baseball Village here at LakePoint Sports. Cory McCartney along with Grayson Rosen with you. Jack Horton is on the mound once again for Easley Baseball Club, and he's going to be facing off against Alex Padgett, Jace Giannotti, and Colton Carpenter for Georgia Sauce as they try to walk this thing off. They scored 1 run in the 1st inning, and then Easley Baseball Club comes back with 3 in the 4th off the bat of Brett Little off of an RBI triple, but then Georgia Sauce finds an answer in the bottom of the 6th inning with Parker Souza scoring off of a wild pitch, and then Braden Turgeon with an RBI double, and that's got us all squared up. It's in for a strike from Horton to start things off here in the 7th against Padgett. Horton misses to make it 1-1. You talked in the last inning for Georgia Sauce when they were at the plate about nobody trying to be a hero. Try to tell these guys that when you've got a tie ball game in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to convince these younger guys that you know they're not going to change the game in one swing right now, especially with no runners on, there's no outs. It's really just about finding yourself on base and putting yourself in the position to be the guy that makes the moment happen, but don't force it. You got to let it happen on its own, and that one a close pitch right there. But
back-to-back curveballs from Jack Horton have dropped in for strikes, and it's now 1-2 to Padgett.
Yeah, you're just you're looking for that moment to find you.
Sends that back foul. Padgett's 0 for 2. He sends this one into right field on his knees, but able to make the catch for the first out. Great job in right field from McLean Garner. We saw a misplayed ball from him earlier that ended up resulting in Parker Souza scoring the second run. But he does his job there, and there's now one down as they're going to try to get out of this and salvage a tie here on pool play action.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough spot for Easley to be in right now when you're in the bottom of the 7th in a tie ball game, and you know that best case scenario, you can't win. So obviously there's still something to play for, of course, but makes it a little bit harder to show some energy and show a little bit of life when you know that that's kind of what's on the line.
Giannotti holds there. Goes back to the curveball again and gets himself a strikeout. Now 2 down. And, man, that secondary from Jack Horton has been deadly, and he's an absolute feel for that curveball.
Yeah, this inning's been great work. Of course, you know, not necessarily how he wanted everything to go. To start, kind of inherited some tough spot with just coming off of those runs being scored and then allowing a hit early on. But this inning, he's looked dialed in. I think he just kind of needed to warm up a little bit on the mound, and now he is well underway with his stuff.
Ball on the field from another game. We'll see if anybody realizes that. Oh, there it goes, flying across the diamond.
Well, this is a big spot for Georgia Sauce right now. It's just about staying alive. You're not going to win this game in one swing, but 2 outs, you're trying to just create something here.
Colton Carpenter, the number 9 hitter, swings through that to make it 1-1. He holds back there, now 2-1. Weston Brisky in the on-deck circle, and then if we get back to Parker Souza, who's in the hole, who knows what could happen because he's had a lot break his way. Now 3-1. Georgia Sauce, you want a guy at first, and you do not care how he gets there, and we are 1 pitch away from that opportunity presenting itself for Colton Carpenter. Puts the 3-1 in play. Third baseman can't come up with it. Lost it on his trying to pick it up to make the throw, and so Colton Carpenter finds himself at first base. Really our first error of the game, and now we've got a base runner at first, and here comes Weston Brisky.
Yeah, it's just I wouldn't even consider these defensive mistakes that Easley have been making late in this game. It's just kind of these unfortunate situations they found themselves in. That one, definitely a true error, but everything else that's led to this point has just been these odd miscues, and they're giving themselves an opportunity right now.
Weston Brisky puts that into play. No one's covering first base. Into third base goes Colton Carpenter, but they got him.
Got him. What a way to end the game.
Wow, what a wild finish. Colton Carpenter gets caught at third base off the hit from Weston Brisky, denying Georgia Sauce a chance to try to walk this thing off. So we're going to end up in a tie, and obviously some words here being exchanged from the coach of Georgia Sauce, Christopher Watts, and the home plate umpire. What a really tough way for this game to end. So it's going to result in a 3-3 tie. Georgia Sauce was going to have a chance to walk this thing off with Parker Souza coming to the plate, but these two teams will go out for the post-game handshakes, and that's how it's going to end, a 3-3 tie in this one. Unfortunate way for that to end with a Colton Carpenter getting thrown out at third base, but that's how it wraps up. What ends up a really strong ball game. 5 hits for Georgia Sauce to get those 3 runs, just 2 hits for Easley Baseball Club. And, man, you certainly hate to see a game end like that. I know it was a call that Georgia Sauce wasn't happy with, but nonetheless, we end it that way. 3-3 is the ball game. We're going to be back just a moment to run through player of the game when we return from LakePoint Sports.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feet stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports. Cory McCartney going to be joined momentarily by Grayson Rosen. We just wrapped up our game of the day from the U State Championships, a 3-3 tie between Easley Baseball Club and Georgia Sauce. And in steps Grayson Rosen. And Grayson, what a wild game, a wild finish. Pitching dominated the early goings of this game, and then we saw these offenses come to life of late, especially the Georgia Sauce. We saw 3 runs scored in the 4th inning by Easley Baseball Club off the bat of Brett Little off of a 3-run triple. Looked like that was going to be the defining moment of this game, and it felt like, you know, Georgia Sauce was kind of just sputtering and kind of going through the motions almost there at times in those later innings. Then they find a way, and they're able to come back and really turn this into just a great ball game and a great finish as they get 2 runs in the 6th inning. They had a chance to win this game in the bottom of the 7th, and that takes us into the player of the game, because I think you can look at this from a few different ways on how we go with player of the game, but ultimately I thought Parker Souza influenced this game maybe more than anybody.
Yeah, right off the jump, he scores the first run of the game on some of the most, probably the best base running, at least heads-up base running I've seen on any of these broadcasts. He was on second base. They get a pop-up out to center field. Center fielder made a tough play and then took a while to bring the ball in. He'd already tagged up going to third and even had time to hesitate and then commit home, gets home safely without even a throw at the plate, and all of a sudden Georgia Sauce gets that 1-0 lead. They hold on to it for a while. The offense just didn't seem right, but Parker Souza kept going. He ended up being 1 for 2 with a hit and a walk on top of this performance that he had, and then continuing to roll. He ends up scoring one of those runs later in the game, making it 2 runs, and then he was the guy that was going to come up with potentially runners on the corners with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. They unfortunately get tagged out trying to advance to third to end that game in a tie, but it could have been another moment for him to have, and just in a performance full of them.
Yeah, it felt like the baseball gods were on Parker Souza's side throughout this game. He has the leadoff walk, as you mentioned, to turn into the first run of the game. And then, you know, he gets a hit in the 6th inning, scores off of a wild pitch, sets off the double play in the top of the 7th inning. So another way that he was influencing this game. He was, as you mentioned, coming to the plate in the bottom of the 7th. Weston Brisky with a ball that drops into right field for a base hit. Colton Carpenter gets thrown out at third. I know it was a controversial call, but that ends it, and it ends up in a 3-3 tie. But I just felt like Parker Souza just influenced this game on so many different avenues. So he ends up as our player of the game in this 3-3 tie between Easley Baseball Club and Georgia Sauce in our game of the day from the U State Championship. So make sure you join us next week as well. We'll be back with the fall battle, so make sure you check out the LakePoint Sports social channels, as we'll have tune-in information on that game. As always, these games available for free on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Until then, for Grayson Rosen, Avery Hunt, I'm Cory McCartney, and we are signing off from LakePoint Sports. Oh, while I have you, by the way, make sure you're following us on all of our social media channels so you can get all the latest content that we have here coming across campus. Of course, you can find so much from us on the Baseball Avenue, but hitting a little bit of everything that happens across campus. So make sure you give us a follow. You won't regret it. So this is, again, Cory McCartney, and we are signing off from LakePoint Sports.